Welcome back for episode 9 in my off-season series, Bodybuilding with Crohn's disease, for another full training explained video, back day. Before starting out, I recommend using a firm rolling pin and rolling out all the muscles of the upper, mid, lower back, including the top of the glutes. Get nice and deep way up in the armpit and stretch out the lat while rolling it out, and embrace the pain, let everything loosen up. The muscles of the back can be a trouble area for lifters and non-lifters alike. So getting this technique of rolling out before even using any exercises to warm up is a key in getting a mind-muscle connection. The muscles of the back are one of the few that you can't actually see while training, which is likely a reason why it's a problem area for most people. So by developing a mind-muscle connection before your first working set, you're eliminating the problem of not being able to see the muscles altogether. After rolling out for about 5 to 10 minutes, I begin with 2 warm-up sets of rope cable pullovers, making sure my knees are on the floor and my hips and glutes are stable and flexed. Working up to 3 total top sets of 12 to 15 reps, I want to make sure the only thing extending out in front of me are my lats. I try not to let my shoulders get too high in the sockets, and the only pull I want to feel is around the rib cage. Next exercise up is a single arm lat pull down, supposed to be underhand, but unfortunately the machine that I wanted to use that day was occupied, but no big deal. We adapt, we overcome. You might have seen these weird leather straps wrapped around my wrist, and I wear them almost exclusively for back day and for some pulling movements for legs. They're called VersaGrips, and they help my hand act like a hook so I can pull almost exclusively down with my elbow for full activation on the lats. I highly recommend this accessory, if you want to call them, for lifting if you have trouble activating the back. If you use normal straps that have to wrap around the bar once or twice, it can be a little annoying, but these just wrap around the bar, go nice and quick all the way down. I'll include a link in the description. A little more advanced technique we're going to be using here today called a rest pause set. We're going to use a very specific timed rest interval, breathing deeply in between sets, going for maximum intensity.
I feel like we all just hate on everything, is killing me. Thoughts build quick, causing different possibilities. Negative thoughts will cause different disabilities. So do better, work hard under pressure. If you got no time.
A rest pause is unlike a drop set because you don't actually drop the weight. Whatever muscle group you're hitting, you're going to repeat the same weight after a shorter rest interval. usually somewhere from 20 to 40 seconds. Here, I'm waiting 20 seconds or about 5 big breaths and having a big pause up in the extended part of the rep. See how many you can count in total. There is sometimes a range of how many times you actually want to rest and pause in a rest pause set, but a good rule of thumb is 3. You want to rest and pause once for a low intensity rest pause set, and you can go up to 4 or 5 times for a super high intensity rest pause set. But where I am with my off-season training, my first set will be about 12 to 14 reps, then my middle rest pause set will be about somewhere in the 10 rep range area, and then my last one will be about 5 to 7 reps, and I know I'm toast. In the time it takes me, about 5 big breaths in between each rest pause is about 20-25 seconds, so that's perfect. You can see here I actually correct myself with my elbow path. You don't want to let it flare out too much. You want to kind of act like you're tucking it into your back pocket, but through your ribs. Because if you act like you're tucking it through your back pocket, you can go out and around your hip, but you actually want to tuck it nice and tight in, right in line with that hip, down and back. Big squeeze. Two final tips here before we move on. Firstly, if you don't have any straps, it can be difficult to take the bicep activation out of a pull down movement like this. So I would recommend taking your thumb and wrapping it on the same side as the rest of your fingers, almost like in a false grip. You may realize that you're not as strong, but that's okay, that's the point. You want to make sure that you only feel the activation on your lat and that you're driving down with your elbow path. Secondly, breathing. Breathe in as deeply as you can on the way up, and then breathe out as you're pulling down and flexing on the lat. Don't do it slowly. Shoot all that air out and explode on the way down if you find it easy. You don't want to leave any air in the tank and lack any of the final contraction way down at the bottom insertion of the lat. You can imagine these low rows as the crescendo in the training session for back. It's going to be the most intense and heaviest exercise for the day. 2 top sets in the same rep range of 8 to 10. Same idea here, want to keep the elbow tight and drag it along for the lower lats. Now for a little upper back work. Here I'm using a special grip where I wouldn't normally have to utilize my straps, but I have them there just in case for extra support. The activation here is more in the upper back. Think teres, rhomboids, and maybe the upper lats. It's important not to lose the contraction on the lats in the eccentric or negative portion of the movement in these last few exercises. Here we're finishing up with a one-arm underhand low cable row, again with the lower lat focus, dragging that elbow as close as we can along up into the hip. The lats are engorged with blood, so this is really can be considered as a finisher to the entire back workout. This movement may not seem as straightforward at first glance. That's why I have such a close-up angle of it. I'm taking the active arm and slamming the shoulder joint down and back throughout the entire movement. I don't let my rhomboid or teres release. Therefore, the only thing that's allowing my elbow to draw up and forward is the lat. Now notice that the elbow path is really only down. Naturally it comes back because of the contraction, but as I release it forward, it comes up at a slight angle. Again, trying to take my hand out of it and keep my palm up at all times. And there we have it. Another day, another brick laid. Thank you for staying along in this journey of the off season. As we get ready for prep time, I want to say thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe down below for some more exciting new content, specializing in digestion coming up real soon. Have a great day.